Hey Billy.
Yeah, Chris.
Hey Billy.
Hey, Chris.
Did you know? Here's some trivia for you. Oscar Wilde, when he was on his deathbed, it's listed that his last words were, "This wallpaper is utterly horrible. Either it goes or I do."
I did not know that.
Well, there you go. Now you know something. It's not something we're actually going to talk about for the rest of the show today, but I'll tell you what. This is from Rochester, New York, the home of strong-hearted people, a need for social justice, and the house of guitars. This is FC3's Monkey Business, your one-stop shop for everything geeky. And you know what, folks? Everything can be geeky when you love it enough. Starring Billy DeTore, Tanya Metris, Daniel Carmen, and I, myself, Chris Frank. And this is it. We're back. It's season 5.
Dun dun dun.
Da-da-da. Hi, kid. Welcome home.
Hi.
It's been a couple weeks.
I know.
Can you believe we've been doing this for 5 full seasons at this point? It's like, what, 170 some odd episodes?
Yeah, around 170, yeah.
Do something.
We're
It's
like
amazing.
Dancing with the Stars without dancing or the stars.
Although, I don't know, if you play decent enough music, Tanya will start jigging around in her chair pretty well.
Funny you should mention that, because Dan and Billy and I had just talked about that while you were getting your tea.
Mhm.
About our new quote unquote tagline. It's like Dancing with the Stars, but without the Dancing of the Stars. I'm like, well, I could be dancing in my chair.
Yeah,
So,
see? I've
yeah.
seen it happen.
Mhm.
I've seen it happen. There were nights when Tanya and I were playing World of Warcraft together on a regular basis, and we would be on Discord chat. We would have the video going, right? Or we'd be using Facebook Messenger video, so we just could like see each other, and I could point things out, and we can say hi and wave to each other and shit. And I'd be sitting there zoning in on the quest that we were running, and I'd look over to my left at my other monitor, and I'd just see her. She's like bopping, shoulders are moving, she's having a grand old time. I'm like, this is the girl who's really into her gaming. That's
The
amazing.
funny thing is, Susan's the same way. If we're watching a particularly exciting baseball game, or if we got something on she's really enjoying, her feet will move like she's dancing.
That's
Or
phenomenal.
she'll move around. And she doesn't even realize it. Sometimes I'll like make a little joke and then she'll laugh because she doesn't realize she's doing it.
Oh, can I tell you? I'm being back at work. The kids are groaning and rolling their eyes at me because I'm dancing throughout the classroom.
Oh, see?
So yeah, it didn't. And they're like, you know what? I actually missed that. So it was kind of funny. They're like, it wouldn't be math class without you dancing throughout the classroom.
What are you
Yeah,
like,
see?
Ellen? Are you like Ellen at the school?
There you go.
No, I wouldn't go that far.
Well, you're liked by your coworkers.
Yes, I am liked by my coworkers.
It's
So
it's a very subtle but noticeable difference.
yes, I am the go-to person for all the tech questions in the building, which is kind of scary. Yeah, like resetting passwords and how come I can't log on and blah 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 blah. What cord do I need to set up my second monitor? And
Wow.
my coworker Maria got her second monitor on Friday, and they sent VGA to HDMI cable that's
Mhm.
6 inches long.
Mm-hmm.
6 inches long. It was not the right type of connection for the VGA to go into her laptop, because it was I don't know, it didn't have the prongs attached to it where you could plug it in. So insert innuendo right here. Because there was a lot of innuendos on Friday. But so I'm like, no, you need a VGA to a VGA cable. So that's coming from our technology place. So, and she's like, thank you. I'm like, I know, because that's the same kind of cable I got for mine. And thank you, Chris, for the monitor.
Oh, you're very welcome. It was just sitting on the floor of my office doing nothing but collecting dust. So it's good that it's in play again.
Yeah, well, from March to June, having my laptop and my 2 monitors for my desktop,
Mhm.
I had 3 screens that I was working from for work. So I could have like Schoology up on one thing and IEP Direct up on one thing, and then my Zoom up on my laptop. And much more productive. So now I'm like, okay, I'm back to work with one screen. Yeah, that's not happening. So, and I was searching Amazon for like months for a second monitor, and you're like, no, I've got one. I'm like, okay.
There you go.
So thank you.
How about you, Daniel-san? How are you doing?
I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
Not much going on over here.
Uh-huh.
I think you need another kitten by the name of Molly, who's gray and fuzzy. She's so
Is this
cute.
is this Padme's current name or what?
Yes, they calling her Molly Moo, and
Molly.
I'm like Padme, but
Okay.
that's okay.
I see.
She's so soft and fluffy.
It
She's
probably
small.
won't happen. Yeah.
Probably, I know. Anne thinks that her mother-in-law is going to be taking the kitten, so now they'll have to find a home for Logan.
Logan's the smaller one?
Logan is the thin, lanky one that has a head that bobbles because he's blind in one eye.
Oh, okay.
So when Anne first rescued him from the barn, his eye was like 12 times the size of it normally is, and they were giving him little antibiotics and eye drops and things like that, and now it's just like milky, like because he's blind in that one eye. But it's so funny to watch his little head move, trying to figure out where the fly is or whatever, because his balance is so off that he's just like. So his house, he's going to need somebody that can take a special needs kitty. But he is learning how to kitten very well. If those that follow me, I put a video up on the other day, and Billy wanted to know when they were coming home with me, and that's not happening.
Not yet. Oh, they will.
Yeah, I would love to. I would love it, but my other adults in the house have said absolutely not.
Well, somebody else in my house has suddenly decided that she wants a cat, and
Juno wants a friend?
No, not Juno. It's, the two-legged she. So I may actually have her reach out to Anne and see if we can arrange a date with Molly. So we'll see. We'll see. I don't know. It's going to depend entirely on how Juno reacts to having something small and fluffy in the house, because if Juno thinks, "Ooh, chew toy," then obviously this is not a good idea.
They'll adapt. Animals adapt. That'd be
I
fine.
know. I just don't want to, emotionally scar the animals in my house. I want them to feel comfortable in my place.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh my God, Athena
cats take a lot of that, yeah.
Athena just wanted to love it.
Oh yeah.
Athena wanted to lick it and love it and whatever, and she's just so big and jumpy that we're like, hold on.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
Sean,
Athena has a certain level of enthusiasm,
Well, and Sean has a gray cat in his house, so Athena's like, "Ooh, it's a smaller version of Fume."
Oh, true.
So therefore, I want to love it.
Sean introduced a puppy into a house that already had cats. See, I'm thinking of doing the reverse of introducing a cat to a house that has a puppy. So it's like,
and Athena was littler than the cats, I think, when
when she first came home.
Yeah.
Whereas Juno is now a full-sized and healthy 48 pounds.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
She's fluffy.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting. And then, of course, I have my resident cat expert is only like half a mile away from me, so I can be like, Billy, what do I do? So,
yeah,
we'll
I
see.
may know the answer. Or Susan will know the answer because we do know something about cats here.
Yeah, rest assured, I won't know the answer.
Yeah.
So
instead of Googling it, you're Billying it.
Yes, exactly.
Something like
Which
that.
I think is more accurate in this case. But
yeah, no kidding.
Juno knows I'm talking about her, so she just turned around and looked at me. Like, what?
I heard my name.
Yeah. Friends and family, this has been a wild ride these past couple of weeks, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it has.
So we're going to get back to the nitty-gritty and talk about geeky stuff.
The fun stuff that I've been burying myself in.
I've been trying to reach out to some folks to see if we can arrange some interviews. I won't mention names because I don't want to get people's hopes up or anything like that. But I have talked to some folks who Dan and I are fellow alumni with.
Mark Hamill?
Mark Hamill did not graduate from Aquinas, but thank you. Good chat. It's kind of funny that was actually the first time that I wasn't planning on using his name.
It's funny, I was too. It's time to beat me.
Um, and I also want to reach out to some of our local artists and musician types, and so I want to get some more interviews going because, if anything, that interview that we did with Sam Maggs was so much fun, and I forget how much how entertainment we get out of having just a great conversation going with somebody who has a new perspective or some expertise in something we definitely know nothing about, right? So we learn and we have fun, and we've had some great personalities either on the phone or in the studio over the years. So I want to pick that back up for season 5. That'd be a lot of fun. Um, at the rate we're going, it's going to be about this time, maybe next summer of 2021. If we do a fairly steady job of it, we're going to be hitting our 200th episode.
Dun, dun, dun!
Da-da-da. So that's kind of wild.
The giant size annual.
The Giants. There you go. And that kind of links it into an idea that I had. So we've got 30 episodes to figure it out, where we basically try to bring as many people who have been a part of Monkey Business together in one broadcast, just so we can talk about everything we've said and done and things we've learned since these people have been with us and whatnot. So it'd be great to have like Zach and Rob and Dolly and Tony and Becca, and I know there's just so many names I can't list them all off. Yeah, Ray, exactly. And it's just try to get as many people together as possible, put them all on the podcast, just shoot the shit for a little while. I think that'd be a great time.
Oh,
So, and here's a fateful question. Here's a fateful question I was asked the other day.
Are you single?
That's another story. That's a story I'll tell you before the break, before we jump into our topic for the day. But my mother, of all things, she's like, okay, so you're doing your podcasting on Sunday. Yes, Mom. And then she goes, and then you're going to come over to my house for dinner later. Yes. So I got dinner with Donna tonight. She goes, so if I wanted to listen to this podcast, where would I find it? And this chill ran right down my spine. I'm like, really? I'm like, you really want to listen to this? Oh, okay. This is like way out of your usual comfort zone, but I'll here, this is how you find it. Oh, and all the episodes are there? Yeah, Mom. And so you've been doing this for a couple of years now. You have probably 50, 60 episodes? No, Mom. It's about 170 now.
Put 100 one in front of those numbers, and you got.
Yeah. So, oh my. Yes, Mom. Oh my.
That tagline's already taken.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh my. But yeah, that was my Tanya made a great reference to my Facebook post from, was it yesterday or the day before?
Yesterday.
I'm sitting
Are
there.
you 50?
Yeah. I'm cruising through Facebook in the morning. I'm sitting on my back porch off of my room. I got the windows open, a beautiful breeze. I've got my cup of tea. I got my feet up. I'm relaxing, just kind of surfing through Facebook, and I get a little ding. Okay. So I look, there's an email. Okay, cool. I open up the email. And I see a bunch of people, just all folks apparently our age or older, just hanging out and having a grand old time. I'm like, okay, cool. Let's say the 50th reunion of Jersey Shore. Gotcha. And it says, "Are you 50 or older?" I'm like, "Well, all right, yeah." "Are you single?" I'm like, "Well, I guess at this moment, yeah, that's kind of personal, but sure." "You should meet people like mine and enjoy the later part of your years at singleseniors.com." And I'm just like, senior or single what? Really?
Hi, Chris. My name is Matilda.
Yeah, I know.
Matilda.
Mabel, Gladys, singleseniors.com. Apparently at 50, I'm eligible. I'm like, okay,
Congratulations.
That's unfortunate. Yeah. I'm like, single seniors. The whole senior citizen moniker was not something I actually anticipated, right? It's not something I was particularly emotionally ready for. So I get the whole, when I turn 50, my daughter's like, "Hey, old man," okay, great. And I make the occasional joke, "Hey, I'm not doing too bad for an old man," shit like that. Whatever. But to have that be targeted at me because of my age, I'm like, ow. It's like, oh my God, really?
No, that sort of hit me. I think yesterday I was reading something and saw that something I was thinking about was released in 1993. Oh, that's not too long ago. Wait, that was 27 years ago.
Isn't that crazy?
I know. It is so crazy because there's so many times where I don't feel like I'm creeping up on 50. I've talked about it before. I've got coworkers that who don't know me, that are new coworkers to me, that they're like, "You're only in your 30s." I'm like, "Oh no, honey, I am like close to I'm close to 50."
I'm
They're like,
closing
"No,
in.
I'm closing in," and they're like, "No, you're not." And I'm like, "Yeah," and it's just like I have a tendency to forget. I have to like actually go back and go, okay, 1972. Okay, so therefore I'm 48 this year, and I'm just like, am I
I do that
48,
too.
49, 48?
You do the math. Yep.
Yeah, I'm like now having to have to do the math because I'm just like because I don't feel like I'm almost 50.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, maybe because I'm still dyeing my hair and I've got the blonde in it, and I'm still wearing jeans and just like
I'll
trying to
be
keep
90
up
years.
with
No. I'm
trying to
going to
keep
be
up with
90.
the trend. So I don't know.
I'm going to be 90 years old and wearing jeans. Don't. Jeans is not a sign of
No,
age.
I'm just no, not that it's a sign of age, but it's like more of like looking at instead of being in the mom type jeans where they're like baggy or whatever, that I have the fitted ones that like the teens are kind of wearing. So I'm just not that it's like teen whatever, or I'm trying to look young, but I'm just going based on what I'm comfortable in and what I don't know.
Billy, you've got some practice in the 50s that we don't have yet.
Yeah, I'm 55. I turned 55 last month, and
The man is the speed limit.
I've
now
been
he can
dressing
actually
the
get his
same for
discounts.
I've been dressing the same for 45 years, t-shirt and jeans or shorts or sweatshirts or whatever, but so it's just my hair that
Gives you away.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll
I
leave
don't
you
know.
with this completely off the topic thought as we get ready for the rest of our actual show today. We're getting into autumn. At this point, we're in autumn now. I keep thinking I wouldn't mind the cooler weather to kick in, but I don't want to get too enthusiastic about it because I'm 100% sure that this is the year we get flammable snow.
Most likely.
Ooh, that sounds exciting.
Yeah. All right.
What month is that? November?
Yeah, probably at this rate. So today we're dipping into the DC universe, and we're going to do a little casual dive into it because I know I don't have as much exposure to this particular product as like Billy has. But Tanya and I started watching it the other day, and I know Dan, you're kind of going to be along for the ride on this one, I think. But we're going to be talking about the DC property, the Doom Patrol, which the title alone seems kind of fitting for 2020.
Yes, that's what I thought was perfect to start off our season 5, ending
season 5.
Ending the 2020 year with Doom Patrol.
We'll be making our geeky commentary about our thoughts of this year. So the Doom Patrol, which is your Z-listers in action, essentially. Its season 2 has dropped. It has moved from the now defunct the DC online service?
I think it still exists.
It still exists, but most of their original programming has gone to HBO Max.
Which I find is interesting that they haven't like shut the door on the old package yet, but we can talk about that later. Anyway, so HBO Max Doom Patrol season 2 has dropped. We're going to talk a little bit about season 1, our first impressions of it. Billy, I'm going to get some more in depth out of you because I know you've watched more of it than we have.
Yeah, and I've been reading the comic books for years too.
Cool. So. Okay, good. So there's some good foundation information that we're going to need. And so we're going to take a quick break. And when we return, it's joining the escapades of the Doom Patrol. And as we come back from break, I'm reminded of this phrase that I use from time to time is, I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm a very dangerous man when I don't know what I'm doing, because I just wing it. It's one of those things. But so we were saying, and that's non sequitur. So DC has had some success on the CW channel with the Arrowverse, Arrow, Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, etc. They haven't had as much success with theatrical cinema, okay, but they're starting to kind of get their ball rolling finally in the right direction with Wonder Woman and Aquaman and things like that, and we're going to see what the shakeup does with their movies, right? And then they turned around and did the the DC streaming service. I don't remember if it had a more official, cool sounding name than that.
DC Universe.
Yeah, it was just DC Universe, DCU.
And I don't remember exactly what their overall plan was, but in our impression, in our knowledge, did it take off the way it should have. I think the only thing that I really thought was on it was Titans, and then eventually the show we're going to be talking about, Doom Patrol. Was there anything else on it?
Yeah, there's a Harley Quinn cartoon that's gotten rave reviews. I've got to watch it.
Right, with Keelan Cuoco in it as Harley.
Yes.
Yes.
And I think might be a couple other shows, but other than that, no, it's mostly a place for their catalog properties.
Yeah, it's all their comics now.
Okay.
Hold on, movies and TV.
Yeah, you had like the old Superman movies and
there was a lot of Batman movies, Batman TV.
Probably the Flash TV show from the 80s.
Okay.
They had Young Justice, Harley Quinn, Titans, Stargirl.
Which has since moved to CW, I think.
Yeah, Stargirl has moved to CW. They had then they were showing Krypton, Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman, the 4 seasons from 93 to 97.
With Dean Cain and Terry Hatcher.
Right.
Yep. Birds of Prey.
Okay.
WB for 1 season.
The Wonder Woman series from 1975 with Linda Carter had 3 seasons of it. A lot of animated series. They did some specials.
Okay.
But other than that, not. Let's see.
So yeah, it hasn't become Disney Plus by any means.
Yeah. Oh, they did Constantine from 2014 to 2015. So they were doing a lot of not like new stuff, but stuff that was way back when. Like looking here, they had like,
so
as I said,
a place for their catalog essentially. Yeah. So if you're interested in having the DC catalog at your disposal, then this is a good streaming service for you.
But like you said, I think it's moving to HBO Max.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, they only had a couple originals like Young Justice, Young Justice Outsiders, Harley Quinn, Titan, Stargirl, Doom Patrol, Swamp Thing. Then they had the DC Universe All-Stars games, DC Spotlight Shazam, and then DC Daily Comic Book Club. Those were the original type stuff. And I believe Swamp Thing, Doom Patrol. Quote me on.
Swamp Thing got canceled after like 2 episodes because it was too expensive. Supposedly the show's really good, but after 2 episodes, they realized how expensive it was going to be. I think they finished the season, but realized that they couldn't keep making it.
It said 1 season. So, I don't know.
So that sucks when you tell a good story, but you don't have the money to tell it.
Yeah.
Oh, Swamp Thing coming 2020 to the CW.
Okay.
Well, we'll see what happens.
Good.
Let's see. Swamp Thing. Yeah, coming to CW.
And
so they've moved it.
We're gonna have a little chat down the road about how we think the Arrowverse may have gotten too big and bloated at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're going to focus today on the Chief, Robot Man, Crazy Jane, Elastigirl, not the Helen Hunt version, Negative Man, and a different version of Cyborg than you have seen on screen. And they are the Doom Patrol. Now, Billy, you're our expert in this one because DC Comics is like your bread and butter pick when it comes to this sort of thing.
Yeah, I've been reading DC since the early 70s.
This is not a new idea. The Doom Patrol's been around for a little while.
Since 1963, my first exposure to them was in reprints. And back in the 70s, DC had a lot of 100-page comics where they reprinted old stories. So I used to read the old 60s stories. Characters originally created by guys named Arnold Drake and Bob Haney.
Okay.
And they were just a bunch of misfits that through various accidents or mishaps or whatever wound up being what you see. The guy wrapped in bandages was Negative Man, and he had like a spirit almost that would fly out of him and could only stay out of his body for 60 seconds or Larry would die. but had like special negative man powers. Robot Man, the characters you mentioned, except for Crazy Jane, wasn't in the original version. And that ran for about 5 years. And I just looked it up on Wikipedia because I wanted to. I haven't read, obviously, all of the original 60s stories, just a few. And turns out, because the stories themselves, the comic books themselves from the 60s, your standard 60s kind of silly, kind of exciting stories. But in the last issue, in 1968, they killed everybody, which I hadn't realized till I read this. They killed off the characters.
Oh, wow.
So now I want to hunt that down to see how that happened. And then, over the years, different versions of the Doom Patrol come back, most successfully by a writer named Grant Morrison.
Okay.
And that's sort of the version that winds up on TV. The Grant Morrison version is basically what you see on TV.
Okay.
Hey, it says here that Beast Boy was a Doom Patrol member.
Yes, he was. Yeah.
And then he became a member of the Teen Titans.
Teen Titans, sort of like Cyborg. They put Cyborg in the TV show,
right?
Even though he was a member of Teen Titans and then Justice League, I guess. So.
Doom Patrol seems awfully like Suicide Squad in its own way.
Yeah, they're dysfunctional.
Right.
And Mystery Men.
Yeah.
Was Mystery Men a DC property as well?
No, that was an independent of some.
I thought so.
But it just because it's like a gang of misfits.
Yeah.
Well, I think that appeals to a lot of people because we like our underdogs, don't we? We like our misfits that the Bad News Bears, and the Black Sheep Squadron and the Dirty Dozen, so the people who, against all odds, they individually they're all mess ups, but together somehow they figure out how to be this great success in this.
And they don't necessarily like each other in the beginning,
right? Exactly.
Yeah.
And so we like that. That's kind of a good hook for our usual fandoms, right? It's the stuff we look for. So that kind of appeals to it. What makes Doom Patrol different? Because Tanya and I've only watched I watched the first 2 episodes.
I only got the first 2 episodes done. Okay. I didn't watch anything else.
I don't know. I didn't know if you had or not.
I closed my pool yesterday. I didn't have time to watch.
Well, there's anything. That. What makes it different that has made it so appealing?
Well, the characters themselves, especially in the Grant Morrison version, the TV version, I think they did a great job casting the show. I don't know what you guys think of it so far. I was telling Dan and Tanya before we started recording. Susan and I binge watched the whole first season in like a couple days, and we really loved it. Earlier this week, I started season 2, and after the first episode, we thought maybe we just weren't in the mood for it. No, let's go back to it. But I think Brendan Fraser voicing Robot Man is fantastic.
Yeah.
Timothy Dalton
Fraser is an interesting actor because he hit the scene so hard and had such great potential, and then disappeared.
Yeah,
he just vanished, right? And then suddenly, like I don't know if this is like the first real job he'd had for a while, but he comes back and. He's twice the man he used to be, and that was kind of off-putting a little bit, but it's still his style, his delivery, his demeanor. So I mean, it's still him, but just it was weird to see him in this different package, as it were.
I think Doom Patrol kind of works because it's kind of wacky. It doesn't necessarily make sense, to be honest with you. Alan Tudyk as Nowhere Man is fantastic.
Well, Alan Tudyk
like breaking the fourth wall.
Oh, Mr. Nobody,
yeah.
I love it when he was in the bus with Timothy Dalton there in the early season or early scene where they're first together, and he makes the whole reference to the DC streaming service and people who are just sad sacks, spending money to watch this crap or something. And I'm like, oh my god, how self-aware! That's like totally Deadpool self-awareness.
Yes. Now that you mentioned Deadpool, it's probably some of the same appeal between the characters. They don't necessarily want to be heroes, but they sort of don't have a choice.
Yeah, they're begrudging about it.
Mm-hmm.
I only know is there was a part that I did not see because it was very gory and whatever, and I burrowed my face in my hands, and Chris had his hands up in front of my face because he just knew, and he was just like watching, and I'm like, so it reminded me a little bit of Daredevil, just like how the Netflix's Daredevil, just how graphic it can be, because it is on a streaming service. So therefore they can push those boundaries and things like that. But I'm like, oh man, I think maybe that's one thing that I would probably not be able to watch it by myself, because I need to have somebody else to say it's okay that you can open your eyes now. So yeah, that. So I don't know. The jury's still out for me if I'm going to continue it or not. I'm not sure.
It's very funny, very smart, well written. I like I said, I really liked it, and now I'm sort of thinking maybe I should dive back into season 2 and not base my judgment on the one episode that maybe I'll even rewatch that one. Maybe I just wasn't in the mood for that first episode of season 2.
And it looks like it's been renewed or whatever for season 3, because I'm on IMDb right now, and it says seasons 1, 2, and then 3. It says years unknown. So,
but I think it's well cast, well written, and that they had a something like a good story to base it on. They used their source material really well.
Okay.
So
I got a kick out of how they had that when they finally introduced the cyborg character, how he's like the hero in training. You know, it's the father's son trying to get the son into professional sports shtick, but from the aspect of science and superheroes. And when he shows up, you know, amidst the Doom Patrol, he's like, no, this is what we're going to do. I got the plan. I got the style. I got the skills. And they're all like, what the hell is this guy? You know, so they're just trying to wing it. And here he is coming in to take charge. He's like, wait, but no, stop. And so it creates that whole dynamic between them. But it was just really interesting to see. And I touched a little bit on this with Tanya after we were watching it. I'm like, because neither of us were like convinced at the end of the second episode. Neither of us were like, wait, what? Do we like this? Is this a thing? And then it dawned on me, and this relates to conversations we've had in the past. We've often accused Hollywood of being out of ideas. A lot of it is the same old, but different characters, redressed a little bit, different effects, maybe a different twist here and there to kind of give it the extra flavor. If we step back and look at Doom Patrol, is it really that? Is it so different that we're like, we don't know what to do? Yeah, that we're not sure how to approach it.
That's interesting.
I don't know. Well, and I'm on IMDb right now, and I'm looking at all of the episode titles, and it's like, it's funny because I wasn't really paying attention. Like the first one was called Pilot, but then the second one was Donkey Patrol. The third episode is Puppet Patrol. The fourth one is Cult Patrol.
Okay,
and I have to get to the sixth episode, or season 1, episode 5. It's Paw Patrol. So I have to at least get to that one, because we know what Paw Patrol is to us. So
one thing I like that they did is they didn't shove down so much information all at one time. You'll learn their backstories over the course of the season.
Right.
You know, you just got to give it time. You know, about Larry Trainor's background in the military, and I don't remember in the first 2 episodes how much they
did a pretty good job of it, actually. I mean, and it didn't feel forced or ham-fisted. It felt like really natural, like little vignettes that they dropped in, and it didn't interrupt the flow of the story.
Well, like the next episode, the third episode, Puppet Patrol, is like, it says the Doom Patrol sets out for Paraguay, where they discover the Nazi doctor who created Mr. Nobody and the connection between the chief and the 2 villains. So therefore, now it's starting to open up a little bit more about, okay, why are we going to do this? in type thing. So
yeah, and like I said, I like how they delved into the background of the different characters a little bit at a time, so you learn more and more about them throughout the course of the season.
and it says season 1 episode 6, it's Doom Patrol Patrol. Cliff and Victor come to an agreement while Jane, Rita, and Larry go in search of a mysterious team called the Doom Patrol. So right there, it's like, okay, just to figure out what they're talking about, I might be continuing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Just be like, "What up, dudes?"
Through my fingers.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Go ahead.
I'm just saying, because it's been a few months, I don't remember the gory stuff you're talking about.
Oh my God!
I'm sure you're right.
It was. Yeah.
Because Susan's not a fan of gore either, so I'm sure she cringed.
Oh yeah, and they're definitely pushing boundaries in regards to
and language for a superhero show.
And sex.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Doom Patrol will not show up on the CW.
No.
That's now that raises a question for me. DC has no problem with the explicit content for their service. Would Disney Plus allow a Marvel show like the ones on Netflix to push boundaries?
Probably not.
I doubt it, to be honest. I mean, I really do. It's going to be, people have been joking about it, but it's going to be interesting to see how Disney handles Deadpool, right? It's an obvious thing. Now, has Disney put the money behind an R-rated movie? I believe the answer to that question is yes, it has. But it wasn't like anything that you would see on Deadpool, Doom Patrol, Titans, things like that. Like, I mean, Titans, here we go, explicit language warning. In Titans' very first official trailer, here comes Robin. He drops down. Dick Grayson. Okay, he's facing off the bad guy. And the bad guy's like, "Hey, you're no Batman." And Dick Grayson's response was, "Fuck Batman." Okay, that sets the story right there off the bat. that kind of assigns the tone to things.
Yeah, that's why I read somewhere. I think Disney Plus is thinking about bringing Daredevil back, the Netflix TV show. Which, I mean, it wasn't super explicit, but there's some language. There's definitely violence.
Yeah, it was the violence that really got, Daredevil. Like I couldn't latch onto that name right off the bat. It was the gore. It was the blood that I think earned Daredevil its MA rating, as it were.
So I'm wondering, and my favorite of the Netflix Marvel shows was Jessica Jones. So Jessica Jones has a bit more sex, and
they couldn't. Sorry, they can't bring the Daredevil franchise to Disney until at least fall of 2020, due to a contract preventing the Netflix Marvel shows and characters from appearing on any non-Netflix series or film for at least 2 years after cancellation.
Did you say fall of 2020? Because that's now.
Yeah, it says would not be able to touch until fall of 2020.
Okay.
So therefore, it says Disney couldn't even begin developing a new Daredevil series until 2020. So that was in April. They were talking about it. So
interesting.
And then, yeah.
Oh no! So you guys aren't sure about Doom Patrol yet, is what I'm.
Yeah, I think that's the bottom line. I mean, there was interesting parts to it. I like the effects. I always love Alan Tudyk. I mean, there's not an Alan Tudyk part I have not enjoyed. Right, from Dodgeball to Firefly to Dollhouse to whatever the hell he's been in, I always get a kick out of him. He's just
Star Wars.
He's just a great, versatile actor, and he knows how to deliver odd characters with a great flair. So I always love seeing him. And the fact that he's been narrating the show is just with that dry, sarcastic wit has just been hilarious.
Yeah, he disappears for a few episodes, and he's definitely missed.
Yeah, he's only in like it says here, like what, 15 episodes
Mm-hmm.
right now out of the 24.
20, yeah.
Yeah. And then, and like I said, I've always liked Brendan Fraser. I felt that whatever happened to him, that he disappeared off the face of the planet for a while there, that sucked, because he was he had great potential. You know, the Mummy movies that he was in are like, he as an up and coming action star. You know, I have seen the young ladies that played Crazy Jane and Rita respectively in other things, but it's never that they made this overall impression on me. Although I do like the Crazy Jane character. I'm questioning, Billy, you know this better than I
She's
do.
the breakout star of the show.
Yeah,
You'll wind up loving her.
Does the character have control over which personality pops up?
A little bit, but not as much as you think. They spend the whole episode sort of inside her brain, sort of showing what goes on inside of her.
Okay.
And her trying to control the other.
And how the underground works.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a fascinating episode.
It's season 1, episode 9.
Okay.
Is Jane Patrol. So we'd have to get further into it.
And then, Timothy Dalton, speaks for himself. And then Matt Bomer. Now, I watched White Collar religiously when Matt Bomer was in that show, and I thought he was just, he's got this great kind of easygoing flair to him. So to see him as a relatively unsettled person who's just trying to make his way through things is kind of a nice change, and I believe he's handling it really well. So it's weird for me. The more I talk about the actors and the parts, it's like I'm being very complimentary of these things, but I'm also not sure of the show. So it's a weird spot to be in right now.
And with Larry Trainor's character, you'll find out. I don't want to give spoilers, even though our official fragrance is spoilers.
There you go.
There's something with his character that you learn that really is an interesting take on it. And I don't want to give more away. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
But
that's actually that's the sauce I needed to go ahead and say that's it. I'm going to dig in, and we're gonna rip through season 1 now.
So
and I'm looking, because now I got to know.
Yeah.
Inquiring minds want to know.
I think one thing that's a little confusing about the show, at least for me at first, was that all the characters come from sort of different time periods.
Yeah.
But,
right.
Are now in one time period, but still reflect whatever time period they came from. Like with Rita, it was the 40s, where she was a movie star. So she still sort of acts like that 40s movie star. Whereas Larry was 60s military Air Force. So, and Brendan Fraser as the race car driver is great. So, sort of a hill. And you learn about all the characters through the course of the series. And I really like the way they did, sort of, rather than shove all their origins into the first episode.
Right, because I've seen so many origin stories, and it's starting to get boring. So the fact that if they lace it through the season as vignettes that kind of help support the episodes, that's a much better way of doing it.
It sort of reminds me, this past week, Susan and I have been watching West Wing. We've watched it before, but that's sort of a go-to feel-good show for Susan. So we've been watching a bunch of it.
It's a great show.
And there's an episode, I think in season 2 or 3, where they basically do the origin stories, how they all met, how they wound up working for Jeb Bartlett. And they waited
the whole plot line where the assassination attempt occurred.
Yes, exactly.
So they're doing the flashbacks. Yeah.
So you don't really find out, like, when you first start season 1, it's just a given. There's the president. These are the people that work for him. This is the story. And they wait and sort of dole out information about their past. They've waited a couple seasons to do that. And for some reason, I always appreciate that. I don't know why, but
there was a very classy way of doing it. It kind of filled in this blank that you didn't know you had because you were so into the story already at this point. You felt like you knew all these people already. And now suddenly you're seeing this whole different look at it. And, and it was a great Yeah, well, that series was fantastic. It was
Mhm.
better when Aaron Sorkin was writing it.
Yeah.
So it dove a little bit in its final couple of seasons, but it was still a great show overall.
It's funny. The first 4 seasons were Sorkin, and then other people took over 5 through 7. And I think 5 is the weakest season. Then those people got their feet underneath them.
Yeah.
And the last season where Alan Alda and Jimmy Smits are the candidates for president,
Yes.
I think they really rebound. Although you don't see enough of the original cast in that last season, but
No.
the
No.
debate episode with Arnold Vinnick and was Jimmy Smith's character
Matt Santos.
Still one of the best hours of TV, and it makes me sad, to be honest with you, that things can't be that way.
The debate episode?
Yeah.
Right.
Or even just politics nowadays. West Wing has made me sad lately watching it because
pining for a better time.
Yeah, even if things weren't really that way in the last 20, 30 years, they at least pretended to be civil and working towards a better America. And, well, I don't want to get off on a rant, but it just doesn't feel like that anymore.
Tangent alert, but that's okay. It's a good tangent.
Like I posted this on Facebook, and that a few weeks ago we binged watched all 100 episodes of Gotham, which I'd never seen before, and wound up really loving it, to be honest with you.
I did think that was a very good show. Yes, I agree.
But right now, West Wing is more of a fantasy than Gotham, where you have the good cops having to deal with criminals, bad cops, and a corrupt mayor. So right now Gotham to me is more realistic once you take out the supervillains.
Makes sense. I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Hey, how
What
many?
are you sorry for?
How many tangents have we wandered off on over 170 plus episodes at this point? Right?
No, I mean, just for getting political or
no. That's you know what I have a sneaking suspicion that we're going to start putting our foot down on certain things because I know we've done our railing against the toxicity of the nerd culture, and we've talked about inclusivity, and we've talked about racism, and we've dipped into these things. But the world is not served by staying silent. So there may be times where we're going to have to speak our piece and and roll the dice, as it were, and let the score speak for itself. So I think after this point, the people who've been listening to us for a long enough period of time know our mindset. They know that we're all kind of sort of on the same page. We all flow in generally the same direction. We have different. We come in from different angles sometimes because I know like Tanya's a little bit more conservative on things than I am. Dan is very independent. You and I are very liberal, Billy, but we also have practicality on our side.
But there's humanity in all of us.
Exactly. And that's the thing is we've lost touch with, I feel, is that we've lost that humanity. And it's going to be up to the four of us to save the world. Anyway,
we're the modern day Doom Patrol.
There it is. There it is. That's great. That is great. Although being a brain in a big old clunky robot, that's not a comforting idea.
Well, a little bit of trivia in regards to Robot Man.
Shoot.
He will be wearing a different T-shirt of a rock band in every adventure, mostly punk bands such as The Clash, Dead Kennedys, Black Flag, etc. And I find that he's already had 2 different T-shirts on.
Obviously, I noticed that right away.
Yeah,
obviously,
I love looking at his T-shirts just to figure out what he's wearing.
So there's that one. And
now is it Frasier? I'm sorry to interrupt. Is it Frasier in the suit? Or is he just voicing it?
Just voicing it.
Okay.
He's Cliff Steele, but he's voicing Robot Man. And I caught this one. It says in the first episode, Cliff Steele / Robot Man mocked Larry's mummy-like appearance, knowing that Frasier is known for his main role in the Mummy films. Yeah. I did catch that. I kind of giggled when that happened.
I caught that. Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see what subtle references are in.
Yeah.
Like they made references to the Chief's wheelchair having all sorts of like secret gadgets and stuff. So like, there's a James Bond nod.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
Now I may have to spend next week watching season 2. Diving back in. There's like a little dog face girl from Sideshow that Chief rescued her from, or it's actually Chief's daughter. You find out.
Okay.
So Susan was creeped out by her in that episode, so we didn't keep watching. So now I may go back and watch season 2, just because I do like the comic books. And
Oh, is that? No, never mind. That's Clear Steel. That's
no, that's
that's a different one.
another
That's
side plot. Yeah, that's more into the Robot Man's back.
yeah. No, because I'm just I hopped over to like the full cast, so and I'm just looking at all the different characters.
But I do recommend if you're looking for something different.
Okay.
Did you guys see second season, or have you guys watched Umbrella Academy? Because there's a lot of good superhero shows out.
Tanya's seen it. I have not watched season 2 yet. I did enjoy season 1 a lot.
Yeah.
I just haven't had the time to sit down and just hunker in, and that's the thing is time.
Yeah.
When did I like run out of time to do things lately? And I suffer from this thing, and I talk about it often, where if I have the time to do something, I'm not thinking about it, and when I'm thinking about it, I don't have the time to do the thing. Yeah. So it's like, oh, okay.
And I'm trying to read more, to be honest with you. I got a lot of books I really do want to read, and rather than watch 100 episodes of Gotham, I should have. Sometimes
should have been reading. Yeah.
I had my feet up on my desk. I had a fresh cup of tea. This was a couple of nights ago. I had a book in my lap, and I wound up playing Minecraft for an hour. I wanted to finish this thing I was building for Ian, and then I was like, oh crap, now it's time for bed. It's like, oh.
Actually, what makes
how my brain works.
What makes me mad is when I catch myself just scrolling through Facebook and Twitter rather than even watching TV or. Reading. What do I care about this? Just one person after another being mad at another person. Why don't I put my time to better use?
Yeah, that's a fair point right there. I think all of our priorities right now are kind of all twaddled up.
Yeah.
It's kind of wild this year. It's going to be interesting to do this year in a retrospective. Hopefully we survive it.
And hopefully next year's not worse.
Yeah, that somebody had already posted that one. What if 2021 is doing a hold my beer moment?
Yeah. What if this is the opening act?
Right. I think everything's going to hinge on November 3rd.
Yeah.
It's good. How we feel about what's going to happen in 2021 is going to be established on November 3rd. When we see the result of the presidential election, for good or for ill, it's going to give us an idea, an outlier of what we're going to expect next year. Is it more of the same? Okay. Or is it going to be a change of path? And from there, and I'm wondering if our entertainment is kind of feeding into that a little bit. It's because I'm noticing that, the one thing like Star Trek, let's tangent into Star Trekville for a moment. It was always about hope and looking forward to the potential of the future. And Discovery, which is coming out with its season 3 in a few weeks, the potential of the future is something that they're diving 1,000. You're going to go well past Next Generation, well past anything ever written for Star Trek lore, and in essence, shake the whole Etch-a-Sketch up and start over again. Will this give us something new to think about? In the philosophical, because Star Trek has always been good about being philosophical and commentary on social, and amidst all of the action, the adventure, the phasers, the Klingon, this, that, and the other thing, there's always a comment about who we are as a humanity. So, it's going to be to see how our entertainment kind of tries to help either soften the blow or give us a path, I guess.
But
we were talking about Doom Patrol.
Or numb us.
And it's just...
Yeah. If we didn't go off on random tangents on a regular basis, I would worry to see what was happening. The episode that we are like laser focused and plow through a particular topic, I am going to actually look back at it and worry.
Well, I think our listeners would start to worry also that, like, okay, you guys didn't tangent whatsoever, so what's going on?
Are you guys okay? You missed an obvious Star Wars reference here. Yeah. So let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we will we'll chew the fat a little bit more about random things, and then we'll do our question of the week.
Yay!
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what you picked, Dan, but it's probably funny.
Hopefully it is.
You
You're
never
trying
know.
to pressure me into find something funny now? Oh my gosh.
Oh, in regards to the question of the week?
Oh, so last tangent before question of the week. I know you guys saw me post about it last night, but I got to break out my old telescope for the first time in ages. And for the entire summer, in the early evening to mid-evening sky, Jupiter and Saturn have been next door neighbors because of our position in orbit right now. And this kind of thing's not going to happen for a little while longer yet. It's once they pass out, as we swing around, it's going to shift. And they're going to shift their positions. So it makes it really convenient to see them. And if you have a very, very powerful telescope, you have a crack at even seeing Pluto in the middle of them, right? So for the first time in ages, I set the telescope up and I realized just how I've neglected my poor telescope, because everything with like all the gears that power the lenses they were like virtually frozen shut. So I'm like working them and I'm trying to loosen them up a bit, and because I got this little, like, I have a I've had a refracting telescope, which is long barrel, right? Just lens in series. But I've had for the past almost 30 years a reflecting telescope, so it gathers all the light into a mirror and then reflects it back to the lens. So it was great to kind of see everything all squared away once and for all. And it took me forever to sight it properly too. I forgot how to apparently aim this damn thing. It took me 20. I'm looking up. There's this bright light in the sky. That's Jupiter. Okay, I can't find it with the telescope. What the hell? But I was able to lock it in, and my scope's not incredibly powerful, but you can see basically a big white dot, and that's the planet. And what was great, and you can't always see this, I see lined up to the left of it were 4 little dots, and those are the Galilean moons: Io, Callisto, Europa, and Ganymede, the original moons that Galileo himself discovered when he was first making astronomical observations and discoveries. So there they are, and there are times where if you catch Jupiter at a different angle, you can maybe see one of them, 2 of them, sometimes 3. But to see all 4 lined up to the left of this thing, it was so cool. And then after marveling over that for a little while, I shifted to the left a little bit, and there it was, Saturn. And right now, with the way that everything is angled, you could see the rings. You could see the rings in my telescope. It was so cool, because it's like basically like a slightly oval dot with a gap and then a smaller dot in it. And so the planet with the rings. I'm like, oh my God, that was so cool to be looking at that last night. I haven't done astronomy in so long.
See, I have a telescope here. I've tried to use it, and I couldn't figure it out. So I'd have to have you show me what I'm doing wrong.
Absolutely. Oh man, I tell you what, and what inspired me to finally to get off my ass and do it was helping Tanya point Tyler in the right direction, because Tyler's taking an astronomy class, and he's getting into the math of it, like right ascension and declination and hours, and so it's really cool. It's these are things that I had not thought about in a very very long time. I've just done a lot of just observational astronomy, but grab that scope. Meet me at Tanya's house next weekend, and we'll set it up on their back porch, and so Tyler can get in on it, and I think that'd be a great time. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, see. All right.
That'd be a great FC3 program once we have the opportunity, is to reach out to the planetarium and see if we can like get the scope they have on the deck and do a star tour, some night when things are a little bit easier going.
His next one has to do with his next lab has to do with the rotating sky.
Okay.
So, ooh, there happens to be a discussion area. And that's for the lab. And
Uh-huh.
then for his actual class, because there's the class and then there's the lab part.
Mhm.
Module 4 is called Light and Telescopes. Whoop whoop!
Wow.
And so
That sounds like
there's
right up our alley.
light and telescopes, and there's chapter 4 exploration.
Mhm.
So the nature of light, speed, wavelength, frequency, the entire electromagnetic spectrum, the interaction of light with matter, how light is recorded by digital cameras and spectrometers, spectrometers, spectrometers.
Spectrometers. You had it right.
Spectrometers is right. Yeah.
Spectrometer.
Okay, and the
I got to
design
play
and
with a
function of
spectrometer once.
telescopes, both on land and space. So it's interesting, and he was like, once I showed him how to figure out like the with the angle of the most direct sunlight and the least direct sunlight, he was going left and right on my laptop, and I'm like, okay, what do you have? He goes, oh, I have blah 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 blah, and it's blah 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 north, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, because all I was doing was typing his information into the lab. He was doing all the lab work, so I was just basically typing numbers in. So I'm his little secretary in regards to that thing, but because I don't want him on my big computer. So
No, no, because as we all know, it's you stream it, don't download it.
yeah.
Anyway.
So in that regard, so I'm glad that with my oldest taking an astronomy class, that it kind of went back to your little geeky passion.
Oh,
So
I'm telling you. At one point, I remember I got my first telescope when I was 10. It was a Christmas gift from my dad's father, my paternal grandfather, who had been an optical engineer for Kodak. So the fact that I was getting into telescopes and things with optics and magnification,
he
he
goes,
just
woo
got a kick out of that. And he was living in Florida, and so he sent my dad the money, and my dad went out and bought it and gave it to me for Christmas. And I used it, and I lots of observations of the moon, and I took astronomy classes in the summertime at the museum and science center. And then I dabbled a little bit, and I would read the occasional book. By the time that Dan met me in high school, I had already had the flower pot, which is my pet name for the telescope I use to this very day, because when it's sitting upright with the barrel straight up into the sky, it looks like a flower pot. It's this big red ball with a column on it, and the inside nestled in the ball is where the mirror is that collects all of the observational light, and then through a bunch of other mirrors, it bounces it up to the lens where you get to actually observe it. And it was way more powerful than the original scope. I eventually sold the original scope at a garage sale, if I remember correctly. But the flower pot I've had since I was in high school, and it still looks good. The mirror is still clean, and everything works except for
gears.
I had to loosen up the gears, but
Besides that,
yeah. Excuse me.
Yeah, I was gonna say
But yeah,
that
it's
one
fun.
of the best places to probably look at it is from my parents' house, because they live in Avon, and so there's
Oh God, yeah.
not a lot of light
mm,
pollution.
yeah.
So you just have to get through the trees. So that's the bad part.
Very
Did we
cool.
lose people?
I'm here.
No,
I'm still
Okay.
here.
I'm listening. I don't have a telescope.
We're deep in thought.
Well, I think we do have a telescope. I think out in the back room, or Riker has one in his room, but like none of us know how to use it. So we're like, I don't know. So yeah, next Sunday we're gaming. So Chris will be at my house.
Yeah, yeah, that's a possibility. Or maybe I'll just yeah, it's Saturday. I know you're gaming on Saturday, but I can still use your back porch.
Yeah.
So we'll figure it out. We'll
Mhm.
figure
Mhm.
something out. We'll do an observation there, maybe Friday night, because then we're not worried about interacting with anybody else's schedule.
Maybe. Yeah. That'd be kind of cool.
We'll see. Got to shut off all the lights, and we'll go from there. Light pollution is evil, which is why it would
Mhm.
probably be better to be at your parents' house. But we'll do that again sometime.
Hmm.
And
Still a
yeah, and
farther
so
drive. Yeah.
last night when I finally came out, um, when I came back in the house after I was done and I had everything bagged up and put away, I immediately sat down and started pricing out other telescopes. And I was like, it's time to take this seriously again. And I looked at the telescope prices, and I'm like, no, it's not time to take it seriously again.
Oh,
But
well.
anyway, how about we do a question of the week?
Sure.
Whose turn is it to pick a number?
Mine, I think. Yours? Mine?
Mine. It's mine.
Ours? Is it yours?
All right, I'll tell you what. I will pick the first number. Billy picks the middle number. We'll do a 3-digit, right? And then Tanya, you pick the last number.
Okay.
All right. I'm picking. What's a number we haven't gone into the 200s in a while. So I'm going to say 2.
Okay. 3.
230.
5.
Okay, so 235. Go team!
What awful movie do you love?
Oh, that's a good one.
Do I love?
Oh, boy.
I'll be right back. I'm going to go look at my DVDs.
Okay. Okay. What awful movie do I love?
Define awful movie.
Probably one that's like been critically panned, and a lot of people are like, "It sucked. It was terrible."
Yeah, we're probably a good portion of people probably say this is a horrible movie, but you just can't get enough of it.
I'll get the conversation started by saying The Rise of Skywalker, because that has received a ton of malevolent hate from people who claim to be Star Wars fans but hate Star Wars in the process. But I enjoyed the hell out of that movie. It was a wild ride. I think it was busy, right? They packed a lot into. I mean, the movie could have been longer and paced out a little bit differently so that you felt like you'd actually take a friggin' breath, right?
Yeah, it could have been 2 movies of the amount of content they want to put in.
Yes, exactly. And it was a wild ride, but I really had a lot of fun. I think they had the right balance of news story and fan service. I always loved how you get the references to things that were, and admittedly they ham-fisted working around Carrie Fisher's passing. They could have done it entirely differently, and if I were in the writing room, I could have vouched for what they should have done and been just as equally right as where they went, which is fine. I'm not saying it's a perfect movie. I'm not saying it was a fantastic movie, but I had a lot of fun with it. I enjoyed it. And so
I'm sorry, what movie, Chris?
I picked Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, okay.
So that'll be my vote for this particular one. Awful movie that I loved, that I liked. How about you, Billy? You looked at your DVD collection. Anything catch your attention?
One thing did, and you mentioning Carrie Fisher reminded me of another one I don't have on DVD, but I definitely want to watch again. My first one that I do have on DVD is Josie and the Pussycats with Rachel Lee Cook, Tara Reid, Rosario Dawson. Yeah. I think that movie is way underrated, very funny. And I like the music, and I just really like that movie a lot. I saw it in the theaters, in fact. I'm the one. And I think they did a really good job with it. And I just think it's very funny. So that one, and the movie with Carrie Fisher and Chevy Chase, Under the Rainbow. I don't know if you know that one.
Yes. Oh my God. The behind the scenes. There was a murder mystery of some sort going on behind the scenes of the filming of Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, all the Munchkins were staying at a hotel in Hollywood, and there was a murder mystery, and Munchkins and Chevy Chase and Carrie Fisher and Braun Panties. So
I am going to cut you into little pieces. A 1, a 2. A tree.
The jokes are terrible, but I bet I've watched that movie. I haven't seen it in years.
It was a horrible movie, but yeah, I laughed my ass off.
I don't remember ever hearing about that.
Oh yeah,
it's based on the true story without the murder mystery. I guess when they were filming Wizard of Oz, all the Munchkins, the actors playing the Munchkins, stayed in a hotel and it just raised hell for weeks. And they were and it was sort of based on all the partying the little people did while filming The Wizard of Oz. and then they added Chevy Chase as a detective.
Right.
So that's probably my worst movie that I really
That's
like.
a great vote.
Although now I have to watch it again because
yeah,
really
that's in the Wayback Machine. That's
Hmm.
awesome. Tanya,
Christopher,
it's your turn.
I know. I'm like, as I said, I could like define awful movie or bad movie or whatever, and I don't know. I'm like,
you don't have any guilty pleasure movies that you don't
everybody hates but you,
right?
That critics despised,
Like
your friends make fun of.
I don't know. I'm like.
Tanya says, I like only good movies.
No,
to find Tanya at a loss for words like that.
I know that's funny. I'm like,
weird. Mark that one on the tape. I gotta flag that shit down.
Yeah, I'm just like, so I mean, I looked at like the 20 best bad movies of all time, and I'm like looking at, I'm like, Howard the Duck was one of them. I was like, or Masters of the Universe was on that list, and I'm like, I wouldn't say I love them, type thing. So I'm at a loss for words in regards to, bad movies that you actually love. I'm like, yeah, I can't do it. I am speechless in regards to this, because I've been researching it, and I'm like, I just can't do it.
I've got one for you. I know the answer.
You know the answer? I hope so.
Legally Blonde.
That's not a bad movie.
Mm.
It might be a bad movie for you, but it's, I don't know. What's
Legally Blonde is one of those strange movies it's a good movie. It's just
yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's like you just keep doing the sequels. I mean, because right now Rotten Tomatoes has it at 70%, so you might not like it.
No, I don't.
And 89% of Google users like the movie. So
I don't trust Google users.
So
I don't trust AOL users.
I don't know. I'm like, I think it gets to the point where I get tired of a movie that I loved it, love it, and then like, okay, I'm like, not something that stood up to the test of time anymore. That I'm past it. So
okay.
I know.
So we can all agree that Legally Blonde is the answer.
No, it's not. No. Dan, what about you?
I'm going to go with Dude, Where's My Car?
Oh, that's a good pick.
We lost Chris. Where is he?
Chris, where are you?
Did he?
Hello?
There you are.
Oh, there you are.
Okay, that was weird. I apparently hit the mute button on my headset accidentally.
Oh, I was just like, wow, there's been an awful long time where there's silent when Chris said he was going to write this down, that I was at a loss for words. And then...
you know what happened is I reached over for a piece of paper, and I must have like I wedged my my headset control between my my shirt and my chair or something like that. I don't know.
It was like all of a sudden there was like dead air from Chris. I was like, there was a loss of words from him.
Which is unusual.
The funny thing is I've been making commentary the whole time, and you guys were actually responding to my comments. So I was fine.
Yeah, but none of those comments came up on your end on the
recording. Hilarious. Because at one point I think Billy's like, yeah, Legally Blonde, you liked, and I'm like, yeah, so that's definitely one that you liked and nobody else did. He goes, yeah, but nobody else did. I'm like, see, so you agreed with me, and it just kept on going, and I'm like, and then all of a sudden you're like, where's Chris? I'm like, what do you mean, where's Chris? I'm right here.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then I realized what had happened. So.
Yeah.
So, Dude, Where's My Car? Who's in that?
Yeah.
Ashton Kutcher and Sean William
Scott.
Whatever.
Scott. Yeah. Sean William Scott. Thank you.
Is that the one where it's like, dude, sweet, dude, sweet?
Yes,
dude, sweet. Yes.
Okay.
Just a stupid humor. It's just there's no real purpose of it, but it's just check your brain at the door and enjoy yourself.
Well, that's a lot of movies.
Well, yeah, but that's just that one. That one always sticks out in my head for some reason. I don't know why, but it's just yeah. I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I was going to enjoy it.
I don't think I ever sat down and watched it because I have this thing where I can watch a trailer and I kind of know if I'm going to like the movie or if I'm going to be interested in the movie off the trailer.
Mhm.
And it's not the trailers thing. It's just this vibe that I get. I can usually watch a trailer and go, and I'll admit, there are times I am wrong. There are times where I'm like, oh my God, that's going to be so cool. And then I go watch the movie in question and be like, what the hell did I just waste my time on? It does happen. But I've had a fairly good sense over the years of I'm going to watch a movie and be like, nah, it's one of those stupid comedies. I don't get into those. All right. So I kind of just wrote that particular movie off before I even sat down to watch it. So, yeah. But hey, you watched it.
It's understandable. Yeah.
Juno, go on. Is he here? Go get him. Go on, go get him. I think my son has returned home, so my dog is not going to go investigate.
It's funny. Susan just walked in with her groceries too. So.
Well, this is a good time to wrap it up. That's a wrap-a-roo
go.
moment. I'm going to go see my son. We're going to help unpack groceries. We're going to go pet a cat, and we're going to go, do somebody's homework. So we've got things to do today.
All right, I'm going to fold some laundry. Yeah.
Fold some laundry.
Yeah.
Really wonderfully domestic. So for everybody here, it's one of those moments where I go, hey, Dan.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, Dan.
Hey, Chris.
Hit it. Because this has been FC3's Monkey Business, your product of the Mighty Monkey Corporation, purveyors and producers of the Flower City Comic-Con, coming at you April of 2021 at the Total Sports Experience in Gates. Follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, follow us wherever we go, and we will lead you to where the entertainment is. All right, kids, you have a great week, have a safe week, and we will talk to you again next week.
Dun, dun.